So it's the morning of day 4, I think we are. I'm counting 1 o'clock as the start of a new day. And I'm more than halfway through. I'm halfway through it by over 8 hours. Pretty exciting. And I'm starting to get more of a reaction out of the detainees inside the detention centre, which it's pretty good. There's a couple of Arabian guys who are there, and one of them is very traumatised, and his brother is doing a lot of waving this morning. It's really good. And just last night, when I was starting to feel a little bit disenchanted and a little bit like, oh, what's the point of all this? I had a visitor come along, a woman named Louise, who does a lot of work with refugees, and she explained to me something about externalising and internalising, and how it's actual government policy to put these detention centres in places where the people feel isolated and externalised from mainstream society. And by setting up outside the camp and just being here for a week and waving at them occasionally, they actually take it goes from being external isolation, which they then internalise and feel isolated and alone, to externally there's someone waving at them, and so when they wave back, or when they just witness me waving at them, they then internalise that to say, actually, I'm not alone. So there's people who've been through torture or war trauma, have seen people die, have had their lives threatened, or had to flee very quickly from their homes. Then a lot of them had to endure a terrible journey at sea, and then had to endure being incarcerated when they get to Australia, made to feel like animals and criminals. Then have someone who's outside saying, actually, hey, I'm human, you're human, hello. And it makes them feel better. And if I'm making a couple of people feel better, or even one person feel better by being here, it makes it worthwhile. And that's just another plane going over. That happens pretty regularly, and as the week progresses, I think it's going to get more and more. And apart from the irony of the fact that these guys have to live with people flying overhead who get to cross borders all the time for no apparent reason other than they were born lucky, the noise coming in starting about 4 o'clock in the morning is ridiculous. It wakes you up. And when people are trying to sleep during the day, because that's where most of the flights are, and when they're sleeping in the early hours of the morning, it must add to your trauma. It's about 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. I've been at it for a few days now. Boredom definitely is the big factor now. I've picked up a few books and flicked through them today and read through them, and I've had a few people out here and it's been good. There was a temptation. Someone was driving to pick someone up or get some more water, and there was a temptation earlier on today to just go with them for a drive, but I'm trying to make my experience for the 7 days as real as the detainee, so I avoided that, even asking about it. I thought about it for a while and then just dismissed the idea in my head, just so I could stay with the detainees for as long as I can. One of the Persian guys keeps yelling at me to go inside and visit, and I'm not allowed to. Well, I yelled back at him that I'm not allowed, but there's no way he can perceive that. His English isn't great, and the distance is too far for me to try to explain anything more. There was a question today by someone on radio about how do the guys take the announcement of Nauru and offshore processing. And the people were in panic when I went in there that night. They all thought they were going to Nauru. No one in Serco or Dimia had taken, the Department of Immigration, had taken any time or care or worry to explain to these guys that no, you're not going to be going to Nauru, that perhaps with increased humanitarian visas you would even have a better chance of getting your families over sooner. But no one took the time to explain that. So because I was happening to go in and visit on that night, I was able to explain one at a time, it seemed, because I had to, every time I was sitting down with someone who spoke English and talking, someone else, who maybe people who I hadn't even spoken to before, came up really concerned that they were going to be shipped to Nauru. And this is a genuine stress on top of the stress that they're already facing, that Serco and Dimia had not done anything about.